Hi folks, welcome to the second day of spring. You can tell the sun's higher on the horizon now, and believe it or not, I don't get as much solar cell activity. So, it's 55 today, and tomorrow's supposed to be a high of 25. 30-degree difference. I'm still working on the Lakota, and I'm taking a few minutes and making these videos for a very specific purpose. It's very easy for somebody to go out there and say, look at this, I'm going to buy this quad. It's a $1,000 quad. I'm going to pay somebody $500 and I'll have it running in 15 minutes. That may happen, or it may not. I got it all put together. Last you saw I was fighting with those bolts. I got those in. I showed you guys how to time it up. You could see the recoils on it, but there was only one bolt. He actually had another bolt on there that wasn't the right one, so I have to spend a few minutes and hunt those up. Anyway, so I got the thing all smashed together. And before I hang the carburetor on it or do any of those other things, you guys can see I have the exhaust is on there. But before I hang the carb, what I wanted to do is do a quick compression check right before I finish everything up. And you guys could look at that and see it's got, what is that? 160 something. I have this on the capacitive jump pack, but just quickly, where'd the key switch go? There you are. Right, turn the key switch on, and the capacitive jump pack really doesn't have all the amps a good battery does, but you guys can see it's over 150 psi, which is good. You know, I set up the valve so that, you know, when you kind of tap on the rocker, there's a little bit of space both sides, so that's all kosher. I made sure the timing chain is proper. As a matter of fact, I took these bolts out and replaced them with the right ones. I didn't use the right ones the first time. So I was hoping to see it start today. I was hoping to see, you know, something come out the exhaust system. But I ran into one of those situations, and I don't know how available the parts are for this carburetor, so I might end up hacking. Anyway, so this is a Kevin carburetor. And this is one of those carburetors that when you grab a handful of throttle here, right, you'll have the vacuum actually lift that slide up, right, as it goes, ooh, and as it sucks on it, this thing moves upward. But to do that, you can't have any holes in this, and you can see, quite honestly, it looks like it's melted or something. I'm not quite sure what transpired there. So, now what? Well, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look up this carburetor. I mean, the rest of the carburetor looks pretty good. I haven't dropped the bowl yet. But just off the top of my head, and the last time this thing ran and so forth, I'm thinking the rest of the carburetor is okay. Supposedly this thing was running. The guy was warming it up, and he, you know, you always get told these stories, right? How many of them are true? But supposedly he was warming it up, and he went out to the shed, and it had stalled. Then he went to start it again, and it didn't sound quite right, and it wouldn't start, and obviously it jumped time, and it nicked the intake valve, hence the new intake valve, and tearing it all apart and put it all back together again, including a new timing chain. But This carburetor looks like it's been screwy for a while. As a matter of fact, it looks like it took a bunch of heat right here. That actually looks melted to me. And given that, I'm not quite sure how this happened. I'm not. You know, this is one of those unexplained. Now, let's look at what this means from two different points of view. From one point of view, between Honda carbs and everything else, I'm either going to get that one working, and I'd like to actually get that one working. It's the right carb. But between Honda carbs, like this guy sitting here, hopefully this bore is the right size. Between those and perhaps I'll end up putting a 200cc one on there just to get it fired up, and I mean that's kind of hacking. What I'm trying to do with this bike is I really want to get this bike as OEM as possible. I'd actually like all the plastic on it, the recoil working, starts with the key. You know, I really want this guy to be correct. Hence the reason why I just didn't tighten the timing chain. I replaced it. I didn't just bend the valve back. I replaced it. You know, I went through the trouble of cleaning up the inside of the engine, you know, gaskets, the whole shoot and match, because I'd really like this thing to be proper. I mean, I think, yeah, I thought I checked the sprockets are in good shape, the brakes are in good shape. This should be a nice bike when it's all done, you know. Though it's still only worth $800 to $1,000, $1,200 on a really, really, really good day. But I would like to make this right, so I'm going through a few of the extra troubles. If I'm going to do something on it, I guess what I'm telling you is I'm trying to do it right. So I've kind of hit my stall point. Just, you know, sometimes I'll work on a project and then I'll walk away from it 6 months, 8 months, 10 months, and then I'll come back. So let me go through the background history on it. This bike my son bought out where he lives, out towards Gettysburg there, out in Pennsylvania. So I bought one that had a carburetor problem, and as a matter of fact, the carburetor problem was that it was missing this little piece of white plastic on the carburetor there. So I kind of fudged it with a piece of wire. I kind of fudged that piece together and got it put together. By not having that piece in there, by the way, what happens is, see this needle thing? It floats up and down, and then you get too much gas. So anyway, that's the one I bought, and he bought this one in Cumberland Valley. I think he paid $2 and change for this, somewhere around $2, something like that for it. And we swapped. I gave him the running one, and I brought this one home. I did a leak back on it, and then I was able to hear that it was leaking through the carburetor, and when I tried to turn it over, it kind of had that, you know, walking on a short leg sound, that thukka, you know what I mean? It didn't sound quite right. And once again, given that it was leaking air out the carburetor, I pulled the head off, I changed the valve, I changed the timing chain because it did jump time to hit that valve, and now I'm putting it all back together again, and this is where I'm at. As I've been putting it back together again, no big surprises, just silly ones like the wrong bolts used here. Somebody was in this engine before because there was a bunch of white silicone like around this. around this. Everywhere I went, there was some little bit of that white silicone. Wasn't doing anything because there's an O-ring here, and there's O-rings on these, so I don't know why they were all hung up about using white silicone on it. I mean, they put white silicone on this. I mean, there's an O-ring there. You don't need, and white silicone on that. So I don't know what their problem was. It must have had a surplus of white silicone. So anyway, that's all cleaned up. Basically, I need two things. A carburetor, so I need to stick something in this hole. And B, a spark plug. I didn't check the spark. I'm just assuming that it sparks, but that's not a good thing either. But with my CD hack, I can get the spark going. Hopefully, what's today? Tuesday. It's gonna be cold tomorrow, and I gotta take the Toyota in for service. The Corolla. So tomorrow's kind of out. Thursday looks like a cold one. Friday should be pretty good. I don't know what day over the weekend or beginning of next week. It's probably going to be the beginning of next week. It depends on the weather. I got to get back up to Vermont, pick up another couple of toys. So a lot of stuff going on here at the Hoard. All right, folks, I want to thank you all for watching and commenting and subscribing. Keep sharing your thoughts. And no, I'm not going to go out and get a job. Remember to keep your feet down, keep your heads up, and remember to get out there and enjoy all your days. You could keep telling me to go out and get a job, but I'm not going to go get a job. If you keep it up, though, I'll make you live with my wife, because she keeps saying that too. All right, folks, once again, have a great day, great night. Enjoy your time. Get out there, walk around in the blue skies and sunshine, and once again, have fun. Bye.